Now, since we've been in COVID, even pre-George Floyd, I've been getting like a lot of text messages, emails from, not emails, text messages and, messenger hit-ups from folks who are in law enforcement, who are my friends or acquaintances or whatever, letting me know that a lot of times they really want to speak on certain things, but they can't. And I was like, why you can't? And, I'm putting out my judgmental response. Like, if I was in that position, I definitely would be speaking up because it's not right, you can't. But just kind of getting an insight of what you just said, it kind of have me, the reason why I was silent is because I was replaying a lot of those conversations that I had with other people in my head as far as why they can't, because the way it's structured, limits their ability to communicate it. What you say
and
about
and not only that, like, with a lot of things, loyalty is a big deal, right? And so the moment you speak up or speak out, they start looking at you kind of sideways. Especially for me, I'm not black enough for my people, and I'm not blue enough for my blue family. So I have it real tough. People look at me sideways all the time because they're like, oh, you're not one of us because you popo. And then a popo looking at me like, oh, you're not one of us because you spoke out against us. And I'm like, yeah, because y'all was messing up. I mean, I'm on the side of right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And so I always used to check my brothers all the time, anytime they did something out of line. And they started looking at me crazy.
So the comparison that I have, right, is growing up in Jamaica, right? Yes, you had the corrupt cops, but we're in the country. Corruption are less. It's there, but it's less, right? In a different form. So one of the things that they do, which I always wanted them to kind of focus more on here in the States, is that they had an emphasis on community policing, right? So most of the police who are assigned to a certain community, they know everybody. And they make it a point of their duty to know everybody in that community. So if they see Chris and he's out late and they know that he has a mental issue or something like that, and he's
why am I always the example?
They're already
such a great one.
Yeah, they're already equipped with that knowledge, so they won't be so quick to react with violence because they know, oh, Chris didn't take him meds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus, it's just like how you laid it out earlier, where it's us versus them. It's it's a that type of situation. So I've always been a proponent of community policing, but then again, you just said that the issue is staffing, not having enough people to adequately.
Well, that's part. So you bring up community policing. I'm big about community policing because I was born and raised here in Baytown, and then I worked here for all these years. So I know everybody, and everybody knew me. One thing that you have to look at too, sometimes the department doesn't reflect the community that it serves, right? So Baytown has, I think the number is like 170 police officers. Of those 170 police officers, 11 might be black. But then you look at 75,000 people population, and it's majority minority. Baytown is majority black and Hispanic. So why doesn't the department reflect the community that it serves? That's problem number one. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That why is it predominantly a white agency, a white male agency, when that's not who they're serving? So when you talk about community policing, let me ask, do you think you should put a white officer in a black neighborhood to patrol, or should you put a black officer in a white neighborhood to patrol?
It depends. Did that white officer grow up in that culture? Is he affiliated with that culture? Does he understand, like when the guy is driving down the road and the bass plate, is he aware of all the little things, all the intricacies? Because if we put Midnight Crow in a black neighborhood, and I'm using him because all of us are familiar with him. He's good.
Good point.
He's aware of everything that the culture has to offer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if we put, Kane, who we don't know in the neighborhood, it might become problematic. So I think one of the things we do need to do is to look at exactly what it is that you say and ensure that the course reflects direct reflection of the community.
So you say, yeah, we can put a white male in a predominantly black neighborhood only if he gets it, and only if he's, down or whatever. But doesn't it make sense that if I don't understand a community, the only way that I could understand that community is if I embrace and communicate and interact with that community, right? So why you should probably put the whatever. I'm trying to be politically correct and choose my words because y'all know my mouth.
This is just reasoning. Just talk your mind. Yeah. What edit it out?
You don't want to put Vanilla Ice. Well, Vanilla Ice is kind of down. You don't want to put.
Not really, but okay.
You don't
yeah. We get you.
We get what you said.
Yeah.
The whitest, but you probably should so that he can get that real cultural diversity training. That's
if you do that, you don't just drop him off and leave him, right? If you do that, you partner him with somebody who's extremely chocolate. You understand? You partner him with somebody who's, we're not going to Chick-fil-A to eat, we're going to Big Mama's cook shop. You know what I'm saying? So when he rolls up at Big Mama's cook shop, he's gonna be uncomfortable the first couple of times because he don't know. Right. But the first time Big Mama give him a plate of soul food and welcome him in and communicate with him on a human level and let him know that look, this isn't
and
TV,
fall
this
asleep
is real life.
All that. Yeah.
It's different. Like you say, you have to put check and balances in place to ensure that you're not setting that person up for failure, and it goes both ways.
Correct.
It goes both ways,
I agree with that, but I don't think it's a black or white thing. I think it's basically if the person's from that neighborhood thing,
cultural.
They know the ins and outs. They grew up in that neighborhood close by. They know.
Definitely cultural. I've worked with several white boys. They get it. And they'll check another white boy like, yo, chill. That's just how, it's okay.
Right.
I don't feel threatened by that. He's aggressive because that's his nature, but I'm not afraid of him talking loud. It's okay.
Because they're familiar with it.
Yeah, he's talking loud and he's using his hands because he's upset, and I'm okay with him being upset like that. He's in a distance and he's upset, and I'm okay with that. Other white boy got his hand on the gun like, man, it's about to get bad. No, it's not. We good.
So the thing is this, right? And one of the other reasons why I'm a huge proponent of community policing, I don't think a lot of people outside of my soul of brothers know this, but I am a PK, right? I'm a police officer's kid.
Oh.
I grew up, I don't really talk about it because that's how my dad.
A lot.
That's how my dad.
Yeah, man.
That's how my dad raised me, right?
No wonder you bad.
You don't know who don't like the police. So as little as you can tell people that you're a police officer's kid is safer for you. So I was raised that way where I'm around my dad and people don't even know that's my dad. You know what I'm saying? But one of the things I know that he and a lot of the people who he worked with, they do is they didn't travel with their guns. And mind you, this is
in Jamaica.
Yeah, they were in the country. They weren't in town. They were in the country, right? But they didn't travel with their guns unless it was necessary. Meaning, like they get a call that, we gotta go for this person or something like that. But other than that, it was more of a mutual respect. That they gave the community respect and they demanded respect in return. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen it. This is not hearsay. I've seen where I'm there and he's like, hey, Charlie, tell Dion that he needs to be at the station by 8 o'clock this evening. I don't want to come for him. Okay? We have some conversation. And that message will get relayed. And he will be at the station at 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Waiting. But here, they don't have that because, like I said, they don't know the people in the community. They don't know how to respond. And there's a level of fear where, what if? So I have to stay strapped. I have to.
So let me bring up this because maybe people aren't aware. So some agencies, and I will always refer back to Baytown because that's my familiar spot, right? I worked a 12-hour shift, and in a 12-hour shift, I mean immediately as soon as you hit the streets, it's a call. So call. When am I going to find time for community police? Because when there is no call, I got to catch up on paperwork so that I'm not staying past 12 hours. I want to get off on time, right? So there's no time to community police.
So that means that one of the things that we have to do, like the system, we have to address it systemically, right? So we understand, we can all agree that community policing works. Like I've seen it, you agree. So in order to get it to a place where we're doing the things that work, we have to address the things that are preventing it from getting here, i.e. lack of resources, lack of staff, right? And even when we do have the staffing, lack of certain integral training, certain checks and balances, additional checks and balances that need to be put in place, right? And when we go ahead and we construct that list of things that we need, the next step is to figure out how do we get these addressed, how do we get the people to understand, the ones who make the decision to understand these are what we need to do, right? Because if we take just Baytown by itself, you know, they have been in the news for that dude I didn't even realize that was Baytown, but and that's not a positive light. So it's good to get this insight from you, because like I said, I was blind to it. I was blind to the intricacies that you just listed. So it's good to get that insight.